Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank and commend all you gentlemen for your extraordinary service to the nation and the service to your families, because as you recognize, you could not have done it without their unflinching day in and day out support. I want to particularly recognize General Kelly. I've had the privilege of knowing this great officer for many years. No Marine, no family has made a greater contribution to the defense of this country than the Kelly family. I recall when you were sort of shepherding folks around here on the Hill and then being with you when you commanded forces in Anbar Province. Then your role recently as the Executive Assistant Secretary of Defense has been absolutely vital, and I know Secretary Pineda deeply appreciates your contribution. So, General, good luck. I think you're going to do a great job. The only thing I anticipate is that your mastery of Spanish will always have a slight Boston accent, but that's okay. General Welch, again, thank you for your service. I want to mention a program that is emerging and get your viewpoints. That is the association program between regular Air Force units and Air National Guard units. I think this has great potential in terms of the force structure issues you're going to face. We have in Rhode Island the 143rd, which I believe is the best C-130J squadron in the United States Air Force, regular or National Guard, and they're scheduled to be part of this. But it might be appropriate, particularly in the context of budget presses, to begin to think even moving forward this association. It seems to be cost effective, and also it will pool the talents of the Air Force in a way that might be unique to the Air Force, because the difference between someone with 5,000 hours in the Air National Guard and 5,000 hours in the regular Air Force flying C-130Js is not much of a difference. Can you comment on your views on this association project going forward?
Senator, I agree with you, and I think the Air Force as an institution agrees with you. I've been in numerous discussions over the past year to a year and a half in my current job during visits to the Pentagon where either the Secretary or the Chief of Staff of the Air Force has made the same comment. We have to look at associations as a solution to a number of things moving forward. It's not just cost, it's also developing young aviators and different weapon systems at a more rapid pace than we can always do in an active duty squadron. It's a way of augmenting capability for forward deployments. There are a lot of pluses to this, Senator, and I think every time we have either a unit stand-up, a unit restructuring, a force structure change, that part of the consideration ought to be the association.
Let me sort of open up a broader topic. That is, you have a situation down at Lackland Air Force Base now, which has revealed disappointing, and that's being very mild. I know you're troubled by it, very much so. We'd like to think this is an aberration, but are you looking closely at sort of the culture of the Air Force in terms of because of all the services, it seems to be the one that's much more specialized early on, where young enlisted personnel, young officers go into very sophisticated specialties, meteorology, flying jet aircraft, et cetera, and that the ability to sort of, and the organizational supports for the basic command issues and troop leading issues sometimes are not there, because if you're going to be a meteorologist, you're really not going to command as a young lieutenant 30 or 40 people. You're going to be working with other experts, usually senior NCOs. Do you think about that in a systematic way, about whether there's some issues that you have to address fundamental?
Senator, I believe we've tried to. As I said before, however, our projection just for this year is roughly 600 reported sexual assaults. So what we've been doing is not working. We have to look differently at the problem, in my view. And this certainly isn't a matter of everyone not trying hard.
Yeah, I know.
The incident at Lackland, clearly, from just the little I understand, which is what everyone else has read in the newspaper, is horrible. It's completely unacceptable for any institution, not just for the United States Air Force. I don't believe the Air Force has a unique problem with this crime, but we do have a different environment than the other services, and I think each of us needs to look at that environment and how it's impacted and whether it presents an opportunity for something to get at that predator part of this, the perpetrator problem, as opposed to the others, which I think we've worked hard at and made some progress, the reporting and the victim care. We'll never make enough progress, but we're at least moving in a positive direction there. And so I think you're right. I think every environment needs to be looked at. I believe in the specific case you mentioned, General Ed Rice at Air Education and Training Command, as soon as he knew about the problem, has very aggressively done exactly that. He started a commander-directed investigation into the specific problem, brought in an outside commander-directed investigation to look at the larger cultural problem with that particular training organization, which spans all the specialties before they actually go to specialty training. And so, Senator, I agree with you. We have to try anything we can.
Well, I think you put your finger on the issue of predator, because that is absolutely contradictory to what is the essential, I think, aspect of the American soldiers, airmen, sailor, which is selfless service and complete and utter dedication to your subordinates, not exploitation of your subordinates. So that's a lesson that every service can learn. So thank you very much, sir. General Grass, congratulations. I'm glad that you mentioned that Rhode Island has a relationship with the Bahamas. General McBride and I were trying to figure out yesterday which one of his very astute predecessors figured out it was necessary to mentor the Bahaman forces in the middle of winter each year. We couldn't figure it out, but thank you for that. Your responsibilities on the Joint Chiefs of Staff are addressing matters involving non-federalized National Guard forces in support of Homeland Defense and civil support missions. So these are really the state elements of the National Guard, have not been federalized. I'm just, as you approach this task, and you're sort of groundbreaker, this is months into this new responsibility, do you see this as a essentially two-way street where you will be talking to the tags about what they have to do with state resources to enhance their non-federal activities, or rather than just simply reporting back to the Joint Chiefs and saying, they need more help, or they need this, or they need that?
Senator, first of all, because of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs position, I see, of course, as a principal advisor to the secretary as well as the chairman, I have to have a close, very, very close working relationship, as also with the Chief Staff of the Air Force, the Chief Staff of the Army, and Secretary of the Air Force and Army. And what I bring to the Adjutants General is an understanding of what's happening inside the federal government and inside Department of Defense. From the state perspective, I need to be able to understand what needs the states have to be able to respond to fires, floods, tornadoes, right, and be able to come together with our partners within DOD and find a balance. One of the things, just met with Council of Governors on Sunday, and we talked a little bit about this, and we will be pushing and working very closely with the states to understand their requirements in the homeland, especially working with FEMA.
Well, I think that's entirely appropriate. I just that, given what we're all talking about, the budget limitations of the federal government, that as you identify gaps in particularly non-federal functions of the National Guard, that there seems to be also at least the opportunity to talk about how states might, with their own resources, begin to fill those, and I suspect you're going to at least do that.
Senator, in our current assignment out at U.S. Northern Command, we set on a path about 2 years ago to establish a chemical, biological, nuclear, radiological capability across the nation. Part of that path that we were directed by Department of Defense to put together was more regionally based. We've learned a lot from that, and it's informing now regional plans and state plans, which at a level we never dealt with before.
No, I think you're going to play a critical role, and you are sort of the pioneer. So good luck, and
thank you, Senator.
Thank you.